Hello everyone, Joshua Myers here, and welcome back for another discussion video. And the topic of today's video is that, in my personal opinion, Halloween 5 destroyed the Halloween franchise, and it was not Halloween 4's fault.
He interrupted an important experiment in progress.
I am shocking. Pennywise the pants. You will get you
Just like I said in the intro of this video, I'm going to be discussing in my opinion, that Halloween 5 destroyed the franchise and not Halloween 4. And that was Halloween 5's fault for the kind of downgrade that the series went in later in the franchise. Now, I know a lot of people pinpoint Halloween 4 as the start of the downward spiral into the franchise because it would later give birth to Halloween 5, and now give birth to Halloween 6, and so on and so forth. You know, and I'm like, here's the thing. Halloween 4 was a good movie. I love it. And there's a lot of other people who love Halloween 4. Does it have its problems? Yes, it does. Again, like the look of Michael Myers. But for the most part, I love the movie. There's very little I have an issue with Halloween 4. When I saw Halloween 5, Halloween 5, there was so much wrong with it. It basically pissed on everything that came before it. You know, basically made the same mistakes that Halloween Resurrection would make years later. And so to me, Halloween 5 destroyed the franchise. It left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. Then it took a long time before we got Halloween 6. There was a 6-year time gap between the release of Halloween 5 and the release of Halloween 6, which wasn't called Halloween 6, it was called The Curse of Michael Myers. And it was literally because, you know, that film was cursed from the start. I think the real reason why that film was cursed from the get-go in regards to its troubled production was because of Halloween 5. Because basically the writers were the director and writer Dominique Affin-Gerard, who is a foreign director. His previous credits include these, so not much to go off on. He didn't even really care about this film or the franchise. He just wanted a picture deal with the studio, and basically he set up stuff, or at least set up stuff in which he had no idea what he was setting up with the Man in Black. The Man in Black was a character that was added on late into filming, and they had no idea who he was, what purpose did he serve outside of giving a kind of cliffhanger ending for the film. And he basically left it up for future writers and directors to figure out. That is bad storytelling there, among other things, you know? Like Jamie being mute, which I think Danielle Harris did a fine job with what she had to work with. And Donald Pleasance, which again, he did a great job with what he had to work with, but he seemed crazier than normal, and it just, I just didn't care for it. There were some moments that kind of seemed out of character for Loomis, and just overall, just like the weird-ass characters and stuff like that, and some of the weird-ass stuff, just didn't really care for it. In fact, so far, it is definitely in competition with one of the worst films of the franchise. But for the most part, before Halloween 5 came out, the Halloween franchise was still going strong, actually. There was the original Halloween, right here, which, again, classic movie. A lot of people consider this the best of the franchise, still to this day. And this was the film that spawned an entire now 13 film franchise. It's even beat out Friday the 13th in regards to how much movies the series has made. And from what I could gather, Michael Myers himself is going to beat out the amount of people he's killed compared to Jason. And Jason's killed a lot of motherfuckers. And then you had the original Halloween 2, which most people enjoyed that. There's some aspects of the original Halloween 2 I like, and a lot I don't like that I actually agree with John Carpenter on, which if you don't know, he actually does not like the original Halloween 2. And I do agree with him on quite a bit of stuff, but there are still some good stuff in the original Halloween 2. And most people seem to like it. Halloween 3 came out, and while I did love the movie, and there's actually a lot of people who have started to love the movie now, back then, it was seen as a flop. It really was. It was like the first, blunder for this franchise, really. Mustafa Kyle was like, okay, we need to go back to basics, bring Michael Myers back, because they realized that he was holding this franchise together. So they brought Michael Myers back in Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, and it was a very successful movie. Not only did it make a lot of money, but also a lot of people seemed to like it, actually. And still to this day, a lot of people like it too. Now, there has been a cult following for Halloween 3 since that movie came out. There's a lot more people showing appreciation for that film, which I'm one of them. I love Halloween 3. I know other people do, like Kristen Hanna Horror. Again, shout out to you. You know, they felt like the series needed Michael back, which it did at the time. They brought him back in a big way, and the film was successful, so much so that they decided to push out the next movie the following year. So it was made shortly after October of 1988, and it had like a few months to film. They rushed it out into theaters by October of 1989, so 1 year later. And man, Halloween 5 shows that it was rushed into theater. It felt more like a corporate cash grab than anything really, and that was because they were banking on the success of Halloween 4. You know, they saw how much money, how successful that film was critically and financially, so they rushed out a sequel. One thing I could think of is like the word of Jeff Goldblum in the original Jurassic Park. It's like, yeah, that perfectly describes what happened with Halloween 5. They only respected enough for the money's sake, but didn't respect it enough to be like, hey, let's take our time with it. Let's find the right people involved, you know? Like, get a director who actually gives a shit and actually knows a thing or two about directing horror movies and good horror movies, and is passionate about the franchise, passionate about Michael Myers, and even passionate about the last film. They'll bring back a lot of the same people, like Daniel Harris, Ellie Cornell, Donald Pleasance, write their characters properly and give them, if you want to kill some of them off, like if you want to kill Rachel off, give her a proper send-off, like have her be one of the main characters throughout the majority of the film, and then have her sacrifice herself to save Jamie at the end, and just do all that different stuff. And you would have had a better shot with Halloween 5 than you did. We would have probably not got the mess that was Halloween 6, and we would have not had to reboot the timeline again to H2O. And actually, like, because of what happened to Halloween 5, Halloween was in such a bad state that, especially after Halloween 6, the franchise was this close to going straight to video. It was only until Jamie Lee Curtis came on board and came up with the idea for Halloween H2O that it saved the franchise from going to the direct-to-video market. And yeah, it still to this day, there's been Halloween film in the theater. But again, back to my point, Halloween 5 like destroyed the franchise, and it narrowly did. Halloween Resurrection also helped in this destruction. I think Halloween Resurrection was like the final nail in the coffin, but Halloween 5 was the beginning of the end for this franchise. It was the beginning of the downward spiral for Michael Myers and this franchise. And the films have never been the same since. Some would argue for better or for worse, but you know, for a while now, the Halloween franchise was going on a winning streak. Again, Halloween 1, Halloween 2, Halloween 3. Even though Halloween 3 wasn't, but still, Halloween 3 was the only blunder they had at the time. And even then, Halloween 3 is a good movie. Halloween 4, again, great movie, successful, critically and financially successful. And then you get Halloween 5, and then it's basically like, here's the downward spiral. So here's Halloween 4, and then here's Halloween 5, and then here's Halloween 6, and then there's Halloween H2O, which brought it back up tremendously. And then here's Halloween Resurrection, which brought it to here. And then you have Rob Zombie's Halloween a little bit. And for some people, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 a little bit higher. But then for a lot of others, it went straight down again. And then they brought the series back, revived it with Halloween 2018, which was really successful. In fact, probably the most successful film of the franchise. And now we got Halloween Kills, which was very divisive. It's basically the Last Jedi of the Halloween franchise, where half of the audience either loved the film or the other half hated the film. And now we're getting Halloween Ends and we'll see how that pans out. So, but in my personal opinion, Halloween 5 was the start of the downward spiral for this franchise. And you could disagree with me on that, but that's fine. But in my opinion, that's how I view it. And if it wasn't for the quality of Halloween 5, we could have been starting to get better movies, or, we wouldn't have films like the version of Halloween 5 we got. We wouldn't have films like the version of Halloween 6 we got, both versions. We wouldn't have the need to reboot it, and create these multiple timelines. And so, yeah, you could thank Halloween 5 for that. But that's just my opinion. Please tell me in the comments down below what you guys think. Do you agree with me that Halloween 5 was the start of the downward spiral for the franchise? Or do you think it was even earlier? Do you think it was Halloween 4? Do you think it was Halloween 3? Hell, do you think it was Halloween 2? Or hell, do you think the series was never good to begin with the original Halloween? And then us fans have been overhyping it. What do you guys think? Tell me down below. Be respectful to both me and my other audience. And thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.